All right, how you doing?
Yeah,
Good.
Thanks for coming out. I really appreciate it. You know, we can't do what we need to do, and can't run our program in the manner in which we want to run it without you. And we really appreciate everything you do for us and for our program. You know, just thank you for trusting me with Michigan State football. It's been a great couple of weeks. I think it'll be 2 weeks maybe on Wednesday, and I mean, going to basketball games, hockey games, meeting the players, watching the workouts, hiring coaches, looking for houses, doing all that's been great. And everywhere that I go, I keep hearing the same kind of message from everyone. We're glad you're here. We're behind you. We support you. Welcome home. And it truly does feel like home to me. So I really appreciate that. You know, really it's going to be about initially, you know, changing the culture, you know, a culture shift. That's going to be really the first order of business. And Michigan State football has, we all know what it's supposed to look like. And so, you know, it's going to be about getting back to that. And whether it's coaches, whether it's players, we're starting at ground zero with an attitude of that we have to prove it, you know, each and every day. You know, we have something to prove. We're going to approach this thing with a chip on our shoulder. You know, Michigan State football is about hard work, you know, reflective of the people of the state of Michigan, you know, mental and physical toughness. You know, and we're going to bring juice. I was trying to explain last night to someone asked me about, you know, I brought up the word juice and said, what is juice? And, you know, how do you describe it? You know, juice is, you know, it's like relentless, focus, energy, sense of urgency, day in, day out, you know, for a common goal where people want to be a part of something that's bigger than themselves, whether it's coaches or players. And so that's what I'm looking for in hiring the staff, you know, as we recruit, and everything we do is about bringing the juice. And so it's been an exciting 2 weeks. I just really appreciate this opportunity. It's been a challenging 2 weeks, but it's been a blessed 2 weeks at the same time. So with that, I'll just open up the questions and you guys can fire away.
Mel, people who remember you from being here the first time talk about you working late into the night and catching you sleeping in the coach's locker room. I'm curious, when you hire young coaches, how much do you look for what you gave Coach Saban, that all at it 24/7 type of attitude?
You know, I look for that. You know, I don't expect people to sleep I don't expect anyone to sleep in their office. That's something that I did, you know, from at times. You know, just again, I like people. I love people that love football. And football is a game that has been great to me. It's the greatest team game in my opinion, and it's not for everyone, but I believe it's a great game. And I think the coaching profession is a honorable profession. It's very important what we do, especially for our young people. You know, our young men, you know, teach, motivate, develop. You know, that's really what it's all about. And so when I'm looking for young coaches, you know, I'm looking for guys who feel the same way about football that I feel about.
No, you've had a chance now to get at least a glimpse of some of the guys that you've got on the roster. You mentioned trying to make a culture shift. I guess first, what needs to shift with the culture? Second, what are your initial impressions of the players that you have right now?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still in the get to know phase with the players, and we're getting to know them, they're getting to know us. And so, and when you're getting to know players, come into a new situation. It's about, building trust, day in and day out, using every opportunity, every touch point with a player, a student athlete, to just let them know like how you feel about them, let them know that you care, let them know that you want what's best for them, on and off the field. And so, that's a process, and it's a daily process, and I feel like that we're off to a good start, so far. What we need to do from a culture standpoint, obviously we know what Michigan State football is supposed to look like. We know that there's strong tradition, rich history, and so, everything that we do will be to that goal, is to get it to look like how we know it should look.
And I think it's 7 official assistants that have been announced. I'm wondering what your timeline is to get to the full 10, and then secondly, with bringing Mike and Ron back, and then hiring Harlan, just kind of that continuity to the previous era, and if you kind of describe the importance of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's we're going through the hiring process. We're being very deliberate and methodical about it, with a sense of urgency and poise, and so it's starting to come together, and I feel good about it. And I don't think it'll be very long before we have the full crew of the 10 coaches. And so continuity, there's something to be said for that. I think that does have value, but coaches that are have been retained, like Mike and Coach Burton, or bringing Coach Barnett back, is not because of just continuity. Those are good football coaches that I've known for a long time. I know what they can do. I know what they're all about. I know that they can teach, motivate, develop players, and I know that they believe in me and what I'm all about. And so, that's why they're here.
I want to ask too, as you're putting together the staff, you've talked about 2 weeks, a lot going on. You've also been able to get out recruiting. How tough is that balance right now of having all these priorities, of getting the staff done, of making sure you're getting out recruiting? Do you still look at the transfer portal, all those things? How important is it to kind of do all those things at the same time, I guess?
Yeah, it's a lot of moving parts, and that's why it's important to have a staff, and whether it's coaches, position coaches, coordinators, support staff, operations people, we all work together. So I'm not doing everything alone by myself. Thank God, I've got a lot of help, and so it's a dead period in recruiting right now. So we're not on the road recruiting, and players are not visiting us. It's more receiving phone calls, texting, things like that. Reaching out to coaches, and that's a process. But it's exciting. It's a challenge, and it's just day after day after day. Just one day at a time. It takes what it takes, and just knocking off those priorities. Knocking off that task list, that to-do list. I get a lot of gratification with making a list and then able to scratch something off. I think there's something about that. So we're working through it.
Coach, could you explain to us, what is your recruiting style? What is it that you're looking for? Everybody's different. Well, how would you explain yours?
Great question. I've never been asked that before. We're looking for, in terms of style, what I'm looking for is, I want players that want to be at Michigan State for all the right reasons. They connect with the coaching staff. They have a great appreciation for the academics, for the requirements, and understand that Michigan State and East Lansing is a special place, and so it's height, weight, speed, all those things. At the top, where we're competing, where we aspire to compete, everyone's recruiting pretty much the same guys. So there's really not a secret about who can play. It's a matter of what's the right fit, and obviously, in recruiting, that's competition. And so we have to be able to put our best foot forward, you know, in all aspects of our program to sell Michigan State and all the great things that we have here, you know, in the program, whether athletics, academics. And so, you know, my style is to be enthusiastic, to be positive, to be informative, you know, and really be, you know, all in terms of answering questions, you know, making sure that people are informed, making sure that parents and coaches and players are comfortable with me and with my staff. And so, you know, that's my approach.
Right here. 2 questions for you and your assistants. With a guy like Courtney Hawkins coming right from high school to this level without having done that before, what do you see in him that you're comfortable with him making that jump? And then secondly, with Jay Johnson, how much of his offense last year was what he wants to do versus what he sort of had to do with the players you guys had? You know, would folks be able to watch Colorado's offense in 2019 and go, this is very much what we can expect in 2020, or was it kind of a middle ground there where, you know, he has to work with what he has, and that'll be a little bit similar here?
Yeah, with Courtney, I mean, football's football. I mean, whether it's high school, college, pro, and I'll tell you what, you know, just, you know, having, you know, being in this 23 years, you know, and seeing what high school coaches deal with on a day-to-day basis, I actually think coaching high school ball is more difficult than coaching college or pro. That's my opinion. You know, they have to do everything, and so he's done a phenomenal job. He knows the game. He knows what Michigan State is all about. You know, play the game at the highest level. So, yeah, that's why I wanted him here. I mean, he's going to be a tremendous asset for Michigan State. Jay Johnson, in terms of his offense, one of the things I like about Jay is that Jay, you know, is very adaptable, and he's multiple, and he has great experience and wisdom, and he's kind of been there, done that, and so we see football the same way, and he understands that you have to do what your players can do, you know, and you never want to try to fit a square peg into a round hole, so to speak. So part of, you know, what we're doing now is getting to know our players. We'll see, you know, see them work out. And we'll go through spring ball. We'll be able to evaluate. And in the spring, it's going to be very important for us to install our base schemes on offense, defense, special teams, like things that we know we're going to do. And at the same time, evaluate the guys that we have, so we can go into the summer program and say, okay, this is what we think we can do with this group of guys right now, you know. And so, you know, Jay's, you know, he's been through that, and you know, what he did in Colorado was somewhat of a reflection of that.
No, I don't know if you can name someone by name, but there was a commitment that signed last week who played running back from Georgia, and I think you're on staff in Georgia that coached his older brother. What was your message to him as far as what you wanted to do and to bring him along to make him comfortable about the changeover at Michigan State?
Yeah, I mean, I just think that, you know, not to go into a whole lot of details about the behind the scenes, I think, you know, when people have, you know, been around me and previously, they know what they're going to get. You know, I'm the same guy each and every day, and it doesn't change. And so, in terms of coaching philosophy, or, you know, how I, you know, treat players, how I treat other coaches, and you know, how I go about my business, people that know me, they know what to expect.
One other question about the X's and O's and learning your personnel here at Michigan State. I think when you went down to LSU in 2000, Nick Saban was under defense and all those things in 4-3 back then. By the time back at Alabama 15, it was 3-man front, Georgia 3-man front. Last year at Colorado, 3-man front, 2-gapping, all those things. Can you talk about how your defense mindset is maybe more and more with the game, and you're still trying to understand the current personnel? How does that fit into some of the defense that you want to run, or is that still to be determined?
Yeah, when you taking me back, I'm kind of going through my mind thinking about, you know, walking into Baton Rouge with Coach Saban back in 2000 and some of the things that we did, and it was very similar, you know, just really, you know, trying to figure out what the players could do and then trying to fit the scheme to that, because, you know, we were multiple then, and we're, you know, I'm multiple now, and I think you have to be that way, whether I was at Alabama or Georgia or Colorado. We were three down, we were four down, you know, we were in and out of those deals based upon the personnel we had and what offenses we were facing. And so, you know, we'll have a very good ability to do that here, you know, and I'm not married to any type of scheme in particular. You know, for me, I know that if you get really good players that buy in, they run to the ball, but, you know, they play hard technique and fundamentals, they play together, they're unselfish, you know, you can play good ball, you can play good defense. And I've coordinated a 4-3 in the NFL, I've coordinated 3-4 in the NFL, and they both work. You know, so we'll do what the players can do best.
Hey, Bill, over here, I'm gonna come for you. You've obviously been in this situation, like we just talked about there, coming in, new staff, as a head coach, as an assistant coach, as coordinator, everything else. Is it, when you look at evaluating your players before the first time you get them on the field, do you prefer going with fresher eyes, or do you want to know as much as you can about them right now before you get them on the field?
I want as much information as I can get on players. You know, I think just gathering information is you know what it's all about, so you can make informed decisions. You know, but I told all the players on my first day, you know, on the job here, is that everyone's got a clean slate with me. You know, and so and you know our mentality is going to be an earn it, prove it mentality. You know, that's going to be our approach as coaches and players. And so, you know, it's you know, I don't believe in self-imposed limitations. You know, the sky's the limit for what we can do with our guys. I want our players to feel the same way. You know, we have an opportunity now to you know reset the standard of performance. You know, and work to achieve at a high level. And so, you know, input from coaches that were on the staff before, along with you know what we see as we go here. Input from the strength and conditioning staff, the trainers, training room, with you know all of those deals, all of those areas is very, very helpful in trying to you know get the total picture, you know, of what type of young man we have here and where they are and where they need to go.
And then with that, defensively, I know you just had multiple for a long time. I know Coach Saban, you guys famous for having a lot of stuff. How much of this process from now until the end of spring is about, I need to find out how much guys can realistically hold before I can add on their, you know what I'm saying, like how much they can digest, because we're gonna give them maybe more than they're used to.
Right, it's important for us to go through the spring and know who can play football. And players play fastest when they know what to do. So I wanna know what a player can do when he is playing fast and when he is not thinking too much initially. And we will challenge our players from a scheme standpoint, and because you have to know, you know, from a volume standpoint, you know, what guys can handle. But you know, there's a process. And when we go into our summer program, I want to know, you know, who can do what. You know, who are our best players at each position. You know, who are the guys that we feel like we can really develop? You know, who are guys that maybe need a position change, if any? You know, things like that. And so, in order to do that, we have to be very strategic in how much we install in the spring, just to make sure that we can get a pretty good picture of all of those things going into the summer. And so, a big part of that is just planning and then experience in coming into new situations.
Last question,
Traditionally, Michigan State's football program has prided itself on defense, but I'm just curious what your vision is offensively. What would you like the offense to look like under you?
Yeah, first and foremost, our team has to be the best conditioned team. You know, that's the foundation. Our team is built in the weight room. On offense, we want a team that's gonna be smart. You know, we're not gonna beat ourselves. You know, execution at a high level, rooted in technique and fundamentals at every position. You know, in an offense that plays fast and an offense that plays physical. You know, obviously we need to be able to run the ball on our terms. That doesn't mean 3 yards in a cloud of dust. That means when we want to run it, we can. When we need to run it, we can. You know, that's critically important. We need to make sure that we can protect the quarterback. You know, that's whatever pass game concepts that we have. You know, being able to protect the quarterback is crucial. We need to be able to take care of the football. The biggest determination of winning and losing in college and pro is the turnover margin. So we need to be able to protect the football. We need to be versed in all of the special situations, whether it's short yardage, goal line, third down, red zone, 2 minutes before the half, 2 minutes at the end of the game, backed up, coming out, whatever that is. We need to be versed in those things and be proficient. And then we need to be explosive. You know, and that's be able to create big plays in the running game and the passing game, and maybe even using finesse to do that at sometimes. Because, you know, it's really hard to, you know, to every series, you know, 13 or 14 play drives. You know, being able to be explosive on offense is, I think, really the way to go. So, you know, that's kind of in a nutshell what I'm looking for offensively.
Alright, thanks, Coach. I'll bring Coach back to the round table, just have off the record talk, if you guys wanna.
Thank you, I really appreciate you guys coming on. Appreciate your time. Thank you.